pagpunta dito sa ano, despite na Friday ngayon wala talagang class. Alam ko na nirequire kayo ng innovate classes niyo, pati tech and prep. And so, mag-start na yung program. First of all, I'd like to introduce you Haifa. Siya yung Executive Director ng DevCon. She'll be introducing DevCon and also next speaker.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for coming. Right now, gusto ko introduce sa inyo, why are you here? Why are you here? The first is, I'd like to share to you what is IBM-DevCon Techpreneurship Talks. So it is a series of town hall in various university campuses among business and computer science schools. So the plan was, aside from BLS, we will be doing it to other schools as well. So the series highlights successful entrepreneurs and the technology that drives their business. The talk allows our featured businessman the opportunity to inform and interact with the emerging crop of technopreneurs and inspire them to take the lead. So our featured speaker right now is the founder of DevCon, so Developers Connect Philippines. So I have a question, familiar? Sino familiar dito with DevCon, Developers Connect Philippines? Oh my gosh. Okay, so you should be involved with So what is DevCon? DevCon is a non-profit organization that aims to promote the IT Pinoy talent. So we do events for the community, for the students, and as well as for the professionals as well. So, ayun, you should get involved with the community. You meet a lot of people there, pwede din yung mga mentors. Ayun. And then, so for our next speaker, aside from he's the founder of DevCon Philippines, he is a proven serial entrepreneur with a track record of building successful technology startups. His past entrepreneurial endeavors include several companies which grew to profitability and subsequently sold to major IT players. Example, Blue Code Software, an open source application infrastructure company which was acquired by IBM in 2005. Logic Blaze, acquired by Aeona Technologies in 2007, and WebTech, acquired by Intalio in 2009. He is the chairman of the board of directors for Exist Software Labs and Maestro Dev. Guys, please help me welcome Mr. Winston Damarillo.
Thank you, Haifa. Hey, good morning everyone. Kumusta? Are you guys awake? Yes. Yeah? It's always fun to come back to Salle. But especially coming back, this year we're the first game against Ateneo we're the winners, di ba? Can we get a quick animo? Animo Salle! Alright, good. So I know I'm wearing blue. This is in deference to IBM because they invited me, but I want to guarantee to you that I'm wearing something green. You just don't know where it is yet. I'll tell you later. Anyway, I'm really excited to be here. We're cooking something very much exciting here in La Salle. And I'll announce it to you a little bit later, but I just had a meeting with Brother Ricky. And I think it's time for La Salle to shine. Not just among the best, but the #1 in the country. And hopefully in the ASEAN. So I'll talk about that. While I can talk a lot about entrepreneurship and also as deep into technology as possible, so I just want to get a poll. So who are computer science students here? Computer science? Coming? May comment ba sila? Who's in business? Economics? Accounting? Okay. Ano bang course? Who's in humanities? Who's studying to be a priest? Is that? Good. Another quick poll. So mga com-sci, who likes Java? Java? Good. How about Ruby? For the Ruby guys, may Ruby developers pa rito. Yun. Only one. We'll get your resume mamaya. How about, Python? Python's the hardcore coding. Paano mag-isa? How about .NET? Who likes Microsoft.NET? The door will be right there. So I wanted to talk to you about technology and entrepreneurship, but I wanted to introduce you today to a new concept, which is the new market, where you can be successful, in my mind, where we should think about, because it's in our neighborhood. where it's going to be fantastic because the technology will be brand new. We're not fighting against legacy. So I'll share that with you, and hopefully we can have a dialogue about it. But before that, hopefully, very quick story about myself. First thing I talk about when I go to the US is I'm an immigrant. I came here to Salle, I graduated, let's not talk about dates. I graduated early and then I moved to the States. I had a great opportunity to work for Intel Corporation. And while I was at Intel Corporation, I actually ended up working at the Intel Architecture Labs. So at the Intel Architecture Labs, what we did was we think about the future of technology 5 years away. In fact, when I started at Intel, we were just inventing technology called G728, which is a voice over internet technology, G720, which is a video over internet technology, precursor of what's known to be Skype today. Right? And this is about 20 years ago. So that's what Intel Architecture Labs do. And then while there at Intel, I really focused on calling myself a technologist. I love technology. The reason why technology is great is that it makes you do things very efficiently. When I was at LaSalle, I was industrial engineering. So with IE, may IE ba dito? So anybody in IE? Professor Velasco in IE, ma'am. Morning. The nice thing about IE is it tells you of the big picture. What is the business about and how you can make that efficient. The nice thing about IT is it implements the efficiency. So that's really cool part of learning computer science. I had a very good, unique opportunities at Intel to also be a venture capitalist. I actually made investments for Intel. And what's nice about that experience is I got to invest in new businesses. So at the time, bago pa yung open source, cloud computing, we used to call it ASP or Application Service Provider, and now SaaS. Right? So I made a great opportunity to invest in Intel. But in 2000, my boss said, "Hey, you're done here. It's 8 years. Get out of the company. We'll help you fund to be your own startup." So I built my first startup in 2000. I had a great opportunity to invest in open source companies. And I'll talk a little bit more detail about the open source companies. So that's the transition from venture capitalist to entrepreneurship. And more, starting after IBM, it enabled me to have a little bit of financial freedom. I started coming back to the Philippines. And I began to understand not just the good part about coming home, but the exciting part of building businesses here. So throughout this talk, I will encourage you to build global businesses, but not much beyond ASEAN. And I'll explain what that is. I mean, where's ASEAN and what are the things that are exciting? So I'm spending a lot more time as a global citizen. I'm a part of the World Economic Forum. I spend time doing that. For young kids who wants to be a part of it, we have a program called the Global Shaper. If you're interested, at some point, you can email and you can do that. I also am a participant of the APEC, the Asia Pacific Economic Council. We chair the innovation group this year, and we're hoping a lot of the innovation research and action plans actually will be done in LaSalle. And then finally, geeks that do open source are global by nature. So I strongly encourage you guys, if you want to be the best in software development, join open source projects. That's the only way for you to measure if you're good enough, if you can handle it, not just the writing of the code, but the entire culture of creating software. Right? In the Philippines, we always just consume. It's good to create also every now and then. So that's kind of the background. I'll go fast for this. The nice thing about the opportunity to build companies, the most exciting part about that is to monetize it or to sell it. And I'll just talk about just one example. My first startup called Blue Code Software, I just left Intel. So the lesson for me there is that when I left Intel in 2000, everything is good. It's bubbling, everything's just happening well. And I was at Intel, which is a good brand, and I was a VC, which is a coveted career. So when I built my first startup, I actually failed. Blue Code did not work right away. First, Blue Code died. And the reason for that is, at some point in your life, wherever you start, you become arrogant, you take things for granted, and you just don't do the hard work. So Blue Code, number one, did not work, the first version of it. We raised $10 million when we formed it. I hired 50 people right away, and then I built the business plan after. So that's the one thing that you want to think about, is that without hard work, things really don't materialize. It was only when I decided that whatever my startup will be, it's first and foremost going to need to become a business before it's a startup. Right? The one thing I really worry about in the Philippines is everybody's doing this team startup. Like, it sounds cool and I do cool stuff, but nobody can articulate how it becomes a business. I have a personal experience on why that does not work. Right? So whether it's a tech startup or a cool startup or an SNS startup or a social network startup or anything like that, for as long as nobody tells you that this is how I'm going to make money, this is how I'm going to grow, and this is how I'm going to return equity to my shareholders, it's not a business, it's just an idea. So I'm hoping that here at LaSalle, we'll pay a special attention to turning ideas into businesses. And what I've learned from LaSalle, and we're uniquely positioned to do this, no other university in the country can do this, is the combination of business and technology. Right? And that's what we want to accelerate here. Right? Start from that advantage and make it even better, because I can tell you for sure that's the hard part. So with Blue Code, the second time I raised it, I built Blue Code because I didn't want to give up. I mortgaged my house, I sold my Intel stocks, and then I couldn't afford developers in the States anymore. I came to the Philippines and hired developers here. That's how I met Mike. Only then, when life was a little bit tougher, when the pressure is on, and in fact I was down to 2 more payrolls before the company will shut down, you actually really feel what a company is about, what entrepreneurship is all about. If you're not struggling and hard work doesn't come, you tend to not feel the right thing. So, long story short, we took it from that bootstrap to profitability. When we were profitable, we were funded by a venture capitalist again. We kept the money for only 11 months. And on the 11th month, we have offers from Computer Associates, Oracle, and IBM to buy the company. And this is the second part of the story that I haven't shared to anybody else, is that IBM was actually not the highest bidder in terms of buying the company. And when the company was acquired, Computer Associates was gonna pay us whatever it takes to get the company. But when I started talking to my team, my engineers, you guys, right? The engineers, people that build the product, they basically said, sir, we really work hard for this technology. We don't want to go to Computer Associates and put, our software to the grave. Right? They pushed me hard to work with IBM, because IBM will take what we have and make it greater. Right? And there's a process at IBM called blue washing. And blue washing is actually a process on an acquiring company that says, number one, we'll let you be based on who you are, because you're good at that. Number two, we'll give you the resources you need, so the advantage of your technology is magnified. And number three, we want you to feel good about what you do, so you continuously do business with IBM. And the nice thing about IBM compared to CA and Oracle is that it was a relatively small acquisition, not billions, right? It's a lot of millions, but not billions. But the one thing that's consistent with IBM is, you meet Steve Mills, Robert LeBlanc, Marie Week, right? These are the senior executives of IBM. They all come down to my 20 headcount startup and met everyone. Right? So this is important because I want you guys to think and love the startup you build. So when you build the startup and you fall in love with it, you build the right technology, and even at the time where you start to cash out, you want to continue that affection, right? So if you think about it that way, you'll naturally just get started. So that was kind of one great experience. I continuously seek that every time I build startups going forward. And it's once you experience once you be a part of a member of a group that has exited a startup, it becomes addicting. You'll start building companies over and over again. It's fun. It's like gaming. So I did that. Sold another company called Logic Blaze to eventually Red Hat, and now Webtype. So every 2 years, I was building and selling companies. I still have a lot of companies. There's a new startup called Akaleth Storage. Akaleth is involved in big data. We haven't announced it we're actually gonna feature it at LaSalle first. We're working to collaborate with LaSalle Computer Science to bring big data into LaSalle. And we're doing a project called ULA, the University Learning Acceleration Platform. And that infrastructure of big data will be brought here, the Henry C. building. We're gonna actually create a replica of the internet in LaSalle. So anybody who wants to build natural language processing research, you want to do your own search engine, you want to do analytics on health, we can start doing that. So stay tuned. We're going to ask some of you to volunteer and help. Morph Labs is a cloud computing company. It's one of the top 5 in the world. Stay tuned. There are going to be great announcements about Morph Labs. You know, maybe it'll be number 4 on the list. I built that here. It was started in Cebu, and it's currently run in Manila. Exist Global is our labor of love company. It's the company that always builds startups. It's where everything starts. It's where we incubate. It's where we hire engineers. It's where we teach you open source. It's where we teach you entrepreneurship. And it's also the place where the best and the biggest companies in the Philippines go to have their solutions built. So for instance, St. Luke's entire health platform in digital services is built by Exist. Banco de Oro's big data platforms built by Exist. And a lot more companies do that. So at some point, if you're interested in working for a software company as a starting point, we would love to come back and talk to you about it. And then MeisterDev is another software company. Basically takes open source methodology of writing software and bring that to the enterprise. So I currently continuously build startups. Every other day I have a new startup idea. Every other opportunity we're looking to invest in startups. And starting September 20, that investment in startups will predominantly start here at LaSalle. And that's kind of the exciting part, for me at least. It feels like it's coming home. Other things that you do, this is a joke in the States. If you want something done, give it to the busiest guy. It looks like I'm doing a lot of things, and it's just a lot of things because they're all related. All about technology, all about innovation, all about improving society. So I work with the World Economic Forum, I work with APEC, I help design the cloud infrastructure of the United States government, and also part of Field Dev for nonprofits here. And then from a geek standpoint, I still actually write code for my companies. Every now and then they don't accept it, but I still try to write code. So open source projects, I'm board member of Eclipse, Apache Software Foundation, OpenStack, and then there's new storage technology called Ceph that you should get to know. And then entrepreneurship, I was very fortunate to help think about DevCon, so high funding team, they're growing. They're actually, DevCon touches about 5,000 to 10,000 students every year to encourage you to be in the tech industry and be good at it. Hack to Hatch is a Filipino homegrown style of startup development. It's built by Filipinos for Filipinos, and it's the best in Filipino entrepreneurs in the world. Come to the Philippines to do one-to-one mentorship. That's the other thing we're doing. So that's kind of just background. I wanted to talk to you about the ASEAN. Who's familiar about the countries within the ASEAN region? It's not a misspelled Asian. It actually stands for the Association of Southeast Asian Nations. And what's significant about the ASEAN, when you guys think about this from an entrepreneurial standpoint, is the ASEAN is a region of 10 countries that's forming a union similar to the European Union that has about 600 million people within the cluster, that is also the fastest growing economy in the world from a region standpoint. The other thing that's interesting about the ASEAN region is that it's not China, it's not India, it's not the EU, and it's not North America. It's got its own flavor. And that flavor looks like us. And that group looks like it's something that Filipinos can lead. We can set the example. We can be the best country in ASEAN. So it's an opportunity. It's something we should think about. Now the other part of ASEAN that's really exciting is that as a region, And when you think about digital consumption, Facebook, Twitter, like, she's not paying attention doing Twitter over there, right? Really focused. So we use this a lot now. The ASEAN region, I'm making fun of your classmates. The ASEAN region is the most penetrated in terms of digital. So compared to even the United States, compared to even Europe, we use digital a lot more than anybody else. It will shape the way we conduct business, and it will shape the way we entertain ourselves. So that's an opportunity area for us. If you look at it in chart, this is actually the chart, right? About the ASEAN digital readiness. We're currently here, year 3. But if you look at it in a very short time, we're gonna move from what they call digitally hungry region to a digitally driven nation. In other words, everything we do is driven by the ability of either a service provider, a vendor, an entertainment company to connect you, not just analog but digital. So it opens a new doors, and it now for the first time creates an opportunity that is not like the United States. We don't have to try to become Americanized anymore, right? We're gonna become our own consumer. You guys have the opportunity to create the next products and services around that. If you look at us as the largest consumer of digital assets, and if you think about the world today in 60 seconds, right? Millions of emails are sent, about 168 million email per minute is sent, right? There's about 100,000 posts. The other interesting parts of it. 370,000 minutes of Skype call is happening. But this is the internet today. I mean, imagine if this is how intense the internet is today, and we are the largest consumer and we're the fastest growing, this is only going to grow, right? And so if you like to be an entrepreneur, look at all your opportunities. It's big, it's massive, and more importantly, it's exciting. And it's about you. Because, and I'll skip this to a couple of points, because this digitally energized economy, just in the next few years, by 2020, we'll have an age group of 30. More than 50% of ASEANs will be under 30. Right? Old school goes away. Right? Now you're building products and technologies, and software, and entertainment, and gaming, built for your age. Like, think about where you are today, right? When you graduate, and the kind of work you get to do, and the kind of businesses you get to build, and the kind of consumers are going to use it. It's going to be fun. Right? I don't have, in my generation, I have to explain to my mom how to do Skype call, or what the hell is like on Facebook. In your case, it will be the norm. People are going to look for it. Nobody's going to buy anything without looking at Yelp. Right? Nobody's going to go somewhere without mapping it in Google Maps. Right? It's going to be a different world, and it's going to become the most important foundation for computer science students, computer engineering students, combined with next generation business planners, next generation entrepreneurs, to build the platform on. It's going to be fun. It's going to be really exciting. So fundamentally, where are we? We're building stage. When you're building the foundation for digital infrastructure, it's really like building the first roads, the first airports, the first terminals, the first right to digital economy. So what are the infrastructure pillars of the digital economy? Number one is the actual compute infrastructure, cloud computing. And the model of cloud computing is Amazon. Best in the world, opened the light bulb for us to do it. It's the idea that compute resources are infinitely available and then programmatically accessible. I can get as many compute as I need, and I can do it by just a few computer API commands. Power's now in your hands, right? Before, you used to buy very expensive computers from IBM and from HP and from NEC, and that's a barrier. Before you can even start your first business, you have to buy that. Today, for less than 50 cents a minute, you can rent a server. as big as the biggest competitor. So infrastructure cloud computing is number one, right? And that's something that we're going to start here in the country. It's something you'll have direct access at Salle as best as possible, fastest, ability to do that. Learn that. That's the road. That's the railway for digital infrastructure. The second is, if we're going to be connected digitally, if we're sending 168 million emails, right? If we're doing 100,000 posts and tweets every minute, then that generates a lot of data. And a lot of data can tell you a lot of things, right? From patterns of traffic to understanding, epidemics and health issues. And in fact, at Google, they can actually predict if a couple is about to get a divorce just by the pattern of their credit card purchases. Right, those kinds of stuff. It's exciting, right? So you can create a lot of models for that. It's really kind of models to do that. So it leverages cloud computing. It requires data scientists. So this data scientist is what I consider the next generation geek. It's like somebody that's extremely good in math, but also very insightful about social issues. The unique combination, right? And if you master this is the highest paid job in the world, averaging $200,000 a year. It's hard, but it's something that everybody can leverage. It's very exciting to do that. And the reason why you get paid a lot of money is it becomes a crystal ball for the business, right? If you can predict things, you're valuable. If you know that just on a pattern that there's like 5 people getting fevers in the same region, that an epidemic's about to occur, that's important, right? If you see trending that people are complaining too much about Twitter feeds about a president and an overthrow is about to happen, that's valuable. So from that standpoint, at the stage we're in, because we're consuming so much digital information, and because there's universality, almost all of us, right, get a text, write, tweet, check Facebook, post a photo. This now becomes the digital pulse. When you watch the old movies like The Matrix, right, predicting behavior can now be actually done just by big data. It's something that we're going to start doing more here in Salle. And in order to do big data, you need big infrastructure, and obviously we'll do that first. But imagine if you have a big infrastructure in Salle. Imagine if you have a copy of the internet here. Right? Imagine if you have a record of the entire weather patterns for the last 20 years. Right? What can you do with that? How much creative can you get? Right? That's the world for you. It's exciting. We don't have access to that when I was here. Finally, is you put this thing to action. You build the roads, you understand the issues, then you change the way people do things today, right? Today you go to the groceries to buy goods, right? Today you have, when airlines are not as online yet, you have to go to queue up to get stuff, right? Today you have to ask your friends where you want to eat, right? In the future, that's going to change, right? So the power of infrastructure coupled with insight can provide the next generation interactions between people, between businesses, between countries, between human beings. And with that, there's different ways to do things. You can do things like shared rides. You can do things like recommendation systems. You can reshape e-commerce. And if our conglomerates here in the Philippines are not careful, it will replace them. Right? There will be a different kind of businesses that comes up, and then it will be your time. Right? There's no more Facebook to be built. Zuckerberg already figured that out. Right? Now you have a new sandbox, a new playground. Right? Build the next one. And to do this, you don't have to go to the States. ASEAN is a big economy with big consumption, with big use of data. So do it here. Where the Philippines is not a second-class supplier, the Philippines can become the first, the best, the most admired supplier. And if we were able to do that in the Philippines, Salle has to take leadership. There's no other university in the country that can have a combination of and skills of entrepreneurship and technology. Nobody else, right? So it's our job to do this. And we're going to combine our efforts to do that. But that's very exciting. A lot of things are happening here. remember, as you do this, you're not only building startups, putting together infrastructure, putting together insight. It's actually a national requirement. Right? The last thing we want to do is run our businesses in Amazon in Seattle or in Singapore. The last thing we want to do is put our data in Seattle at Amazon or in Singapore. Right? And the last thing we want to do is buy all our goods from Amazon in the United States. As a country, we need to build our own capability. Right? We need to own our digital destiny. So if you build companies in this model, you're not only creating wealth for yourself, you're actually collectively helping create wealth for the country as well. So it makes it extra special to put the effort. It's really exciting to do that stuff. So back to LaSalle, right? We're known to be a university and a student population of actions. We talk less. They're better at English over there, Kalayaan, but we act more here in LaSalle, right? And so with that, what we wanted to do, and I want to invite all of you, is to create the spirit of animo, right? Taking action from LaSalle. And in order to help you do that, your chancellor, president, a few other leaders of LaSalle, the board, is actually going to put together a plan so that there's a place for us not just to create technology, but to converge our ideas, combining entrepreneurship, business, finance, sciences, engineering, and an ecosystem that allows you to do that. And then your alumni is eager to help you. Not just to mentor you, but to fund you when there's great ideas, or to connect you to other schools like MIT. And I spend a lot of time doing that as well. So with that, I just want to open this thing for those conversations. I hope more and more happens here in LaSalle. I know there's already a lot of work going on with Dickie's leadership and what they're trying to do in the entrepreneurial space. And finally, I want to thank you guys. It's good to be home, and it's good to meet all of you. Thank you.
Alright, thank you so much, Sir Wilson. For our next part of the program, I'd like to introduce to you the program manager of IBM. She is a BS Business Admin of UP Diliman. She also got her master's in Applied Business Economics from University of Asia and the Pacific. She also got her master's in business in London School of Business. And she worked in tech for her entire career with PLDT, Ericsson, Emerson, and currently with IBM. Everyone, please help me welcome Ms. Mona Veluz.
First off, I want you guys to do something for me. Can you please smile for all of my middle-aged Twitter friends? And I'd like them to see how enthusiastic LaSalle is about entrepreneurship, diba? Okay, smile. Oh, diba? Alright, great, perfect. So, I'm very happy to be in LaSalle today. I love being in university, primarily because I think the next game-changing ideas are happening in the universities today. I think your generation, the youth, you have by design the resilience, the positive attitude, the chutzpah, the lakas ng loob that every techpreneur should have. And believe me, I'm ashamed to admit it, but as you grow older, you get a little bit more scared because you're getting more realistic. So this is the time that you have to fuel the fire, so to speak. So I think your generation is also very lucky because you have guys like Winston who is defining the vision of what you can and should be. And also there are so many actors, so many workers within this space that are giving you the right tools, the right inspiration, the right advice to kind of get you on your way. Whether it be from a technology perspective or a business perspective, there is a bigger ecosystem that supports you today. Like Kaifa said, my name is Mona Veluz, and I work for IBM. I am the program manager for the IBM Innovation Center, which is one of several global facilities designed to help young startups and students understand technology in general, and for those who are interested in pursuing specific opportunities, we can even help them port over to IBM technologies. So it's one of those spaces where it's a playground really. We have a data center there, and Salle is especially lucky because the technology manager for the facility is one of your instructors, the tall gentleman right there in black and orange, Dr. Pantola, Dr. Alexis Pantola, actually works with the IBM Innovation Center. And he's one of those guys who are at the forefront of helping young startups in technology. Okay, in my generation, which is maybe the same as Winston, I don't know, a little older, but back in the day, it's actually ironic because I'm a business major. But when I was in school, entrepreneurship was not ingrained in our curriculum. I had friends who could look at financial statements and cough up performance indices without, using paper, like savants. But they cannot raise 20,000 pesos for our org to save their lives. So they know the business. We were trained to be employees. You work hard, you work for 10 years, pag nakaipon ka na, then you do your startup, then you do your thing. But that is not, we've seen today that that's not exactly the right, I wouldn't call it right, but it's not a culture of innovation. It's not a culture of exciting, game-changing ideas that we were cultivating back then. So I think your generation is lucky. One of the things that a lot of experts find when talking to young adults like ourselves, young startups, what do they need? They usually start with a big idea, right? So they want to solve pressing social issues. They want to do something different from how it's being done today. You want to disrupt. You want to be a disruptor. And of course, you want to make money. But then, you think about how you're going to do that. And as students, very often, it doesn't come naturally to you. Wala pa tayong gagawin. You usually need the mentorship, the training, the guidance of business majors or your mentors here in school, mentors who are already in industry to kind of help you and guide you on your way. So this is really what the industry is trying to help you with the many programs that are lined up today. I think Winston gave you an idea of all of the techpreneurship activities that are headed by his organization, and he is not alone. That's the great thing. It's a big community. You have individual companies having their own programs to fuel entrepreneurship, techpreneurship specifically. What I'm here to do today is give you an idea of what IBM is doing. It's really great that Winston I'm speaking after Winston because there's that relationship with IBM. He made his first 100 million with IBM, and we're glad and we're very proud as Filipinos that his code is actually embedded in one of the biggest selling middleware that we have today, which is WebSphere. So that is exciting for us. When we go to universities, we always put Winston's face on our deck because it's a great story. It's a great Filipino success for IBM and for Filipinos in general, of course. Right. So IBM realized the need to tap into the potential of the entrepreneurs, the students, the young startups, and created in 2011 what we call the Global Entrepreneurship Program. The face of the Global Entrepreneurship Program is the IBM Innovation Center. That's really where we start getting people in. That's really where we start giving you the guidance, giving you the training on technology, and hopefully a little bit of the inspiration. That's why we're here. That's why we try to talk to you and understand what you want to see in the marketplace. In our discussions, we are very excited because aside from the big, the Animo Labs is very exciting. It's like you have your very own bad computer. Kasi it's this big giant thing that can process a lot of data, so much potential. You can predict stuff. Isn't that exciting? One of the things kasi that IBM is also pushing for is analytics. I don't know if it's been rolled out in Salle, but we have tied up with CHED to deliver analytics education to the universities and colleges in the Philippines. So there's an MOA already in place, and over the summer we did a big series of trainings for university professors, where we trained them in descriptive analytics, predictive analytics, and prescriptive analytics. So it's now we're hopefully we're enabling the next generation to be data scientists, and this is really an exciting time. Beyond the education, beyond the chika, what does IBM offer to the young entrepreneur? Well, we do have what we call a Smart Camp. It is for those who are already established. For example, you already have a prototype. You already have your own. You're already registered with the SEC. You have the right documentation. This is really where we start to help you develop your product and help you go to market. The Smart Camp is one of the programs which then gives you the opportunity to get capital. Because if this was a food cart business, there's mommy and daddy that you can ask for, to ask money for. But in a different playing field, there needs to be that interaction with companies and institutions that can help you grow your business better. All right. And once you are a working ISV, our group actually also does a lot of investments with our partners, with our partner entrepreneurs. We do go-to-market events with them. We actually fund their marketing campaigns. One example of my favorite startup who we helped last year, their product is not sexy. They have an accounting system. And you're like, what, accounting system? That's like lame. We have QuickBooks for that. But the unique thing about this company is that they're the only ones who have had a 100% approval rating from BIR. So their customized application was very unique. They had a unique selling proposition. And they went to IBM. We helped them port over to IBM technology. They even went to our Smart Camp, which is in Singapore. They were there, they met with capitalists, they got into a discussion on how they can grow their business. And they came back and continued to engage IBM in helping them develop their marketing, helping them develop their product line. Once they heard about a new upcoming technology, oh, we want to be enabled in that. We want to be enabled in cloud. We want to be enabled in your analytics solutions. So it's a partnership that can stretch from the time you are young to the time that you're a mature ISV. Right? And this is not only in the Philippines. I mean, that program is a global program, and the directive to be engaged with startups actually start from the top. Jeannie Rometti, our CEO, our chairman and president, appeared in VentureScape in San Francisco this year, and her message was, the startups are the ones who are going to change the IT landscape. We are in a point in time where mobility, cloud technologies, big data solutions, analytics are enabling you guys, the guys who don't have access to the big, sexy equipment, to do your work now, not wait for when you actually have money to buy the equipment, like Winston said. And over the span of time that the program has been, that the IBM Global Entrepreneurship Program has been launched, we have engaged about 150,000 startups in 120 countries, and we have released about $91 million in VC funding. We've had several Smart Camps. The Smart Camp is a competition, it's a global competition. in the Philippines, we start, it's because we do have a, I guess, that lack of companies who have come to us with that interest to develop IBM-centric solutions. We've had one-on-one recruitment, but for many other countries, it is usually a national competition. At any rate, we go to a regional finals. This year it's going to be in KL in October. This is going to be one day before the Global Entrepreneurship Summit of President Obama. And it is there where we're going to find the next company that we're going to move up to the global finals. So I'd like you to meet a few companies who we have been working with.
So the company is Localytics. We're an analytics provider for mobile applications. I'm co-founder and CEO. We help the developers of iOS, Android, HTML5, and other smartphone and tablet apps better understand who their users are so that they can make more profitable and better applications.
My name is Volodymyr Pigu, and I'm co-founder and CEO of Profitero. We provide our clients, retailers and manufacturers, with competitor prices and stock availability information.
What Sprossel does is we work with the legitimate pharmaceutical producers to attach technology to their products such that consumers can easily verify the pills that they buy from pharmacies to avoid buying a fake drug.
So I'm the first-time entrepreneur, and it's a learning curve.
Are we going to be able to raise sufficient funds to build this company?
Probably the biggest fear, it's not having paying customers.
You don't always know what your exact next move is, but you have to be flexible enough to make it quick.
We're now integrated in well over 10,000 apps. We have revenue from some of the top companies in the world.
Over 1 million consumers text in to our service to validate the products that they're buying. We have a new client coming on board where we're going to be validating car parts.
We definitely see Profitero becoming a provider of the service to maybe 50 or 70, 80% of top 500 retailers.
Filipinos can come up with sexier products than that. Diba? Yeah! I know in a lot of the hackathons and camps and boot camps that we've seen, we've gotten ideas that were really exciting and game-changing and innovative. It's really now up to you guys to kind of take it to the next level, to see your vision through. And hopefully I will find a few of those guys here today. These are the details on how you can learn more about the IBM Global Entrepreneurship Program. But, and you can take note of that now. I think that's the most important thing that I'd like to leave you with. And this is really more my personal insight. My name is Mona Lisa. I hate the name, but that's really my name. And over my life, I've read, Da Vinci theories and the concept of Renaissance living. And one of the things that the Da Vinci actually said is the true Renaissance person is peaceful in the face of a change and in the face of ambiguity. So I think being a techpreneur is being a Renaissance person. It's a calling, it's a vocation. It's not a thing to do. It's not one of your options, but it's really a personal belief. It's really a calling, a commitment. And if you are one of those persons, I hope that, I wish you well. I wish you all the luck. And with guys like Winston being your angel here in LaSalle, I am looking forward to great things coming from Animo Labs and the LaSalle University. Thank you very much.
Now for the next part of our program, we will be having a panel discussion with our featured entrepreneurs and also the technopreneurs from Salle, and they would be able to ask questions to our featured entrepreneur, which is Sir Winston. Also, everyone can ask from here. Wait lang, ha?
Okay, so we're doing now the panel discussion, and the discussion will revolve on the topic, lessons I learned the hard way. So we have here students, and of course Sir Winston. They will be discussing their experiences. These students have been joining startup competitions already. So if you're interested to join in the future, you'll learn from them. And to moderate the discussion, we have the CCS External Affairs Director, Mr. Federico Gonzalez.
Okay, actually the question should be coming from the audience, okay, because the experience is going to be shared by the four gentlemen up here. So, I can introduce them because they look familiar and I don't know them, so I'm going to ask each of them to talk about, I'll ask each of them to talk about why they're up there, okay? We all know about Winston, but not the rest. So I'll start.
Good morning guys. I'm Arvin El Urubia. I'm the founder of High Media Business Solutions. Basically, we cater CCTV integration to your to micro businesses here in the Philippines. And recently, I started a new startup, Corner Data, which we able to participate in biggest hackathon at IRI and just this recent last April. At we are one of the final 20 finalists of Idea Space from Smart. So I'm glad to be here and just ask questions for us guys, and hopefully we can add to your some inspirations to you. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Alden Gorgonia, 40-year CS student, and we we joined the last startup week in Manila, and we won the People's Choice.
Alright, so hi, I'm David Marquez. I'm also CSSE fourth year graduate. And like I said, me and Ade, if you want startup weekend, we're creating this startup now. We're in the process of creating it now. Create list where you can give people their birthday or something, and then we'll put it in one website. And I'm also part of, like Alvin was saying, I was also an intern for Idea Space, but from Smart over the summer. So that's it.
Okay, so open to questions. Okay, maybe I'll ask the first question. We have a lot of good thesis projects here at LaSalle. As a matter of fact, I've mentored several of them. I brought some thesis projects to the Intel, all the way to the Intel Asia Pacific competitions. They've won. They've gone to UC Berkeley for the global Intel Global Challenge Finals. They didn't make it there, but one of the things that we see here in LaSalle is that once they're done with the thesis, a lot of the students just want to go and get a job, join the family company, etc. So maybe my first question is, that's a situation that it's too bad. Those are good ideas. What do you suggest in situations like that? Do we get somebody else to carry the ball on that project who is not one of the founders, or how do we motivate founders to get into something like that? So, whoever's got some ideas.
Yeah, for me, in that case, so I believe we need a Manny Pacquiao of entrepreneurship in the Philippines. I always say whenever I talk to someone who wants to start a startup, that we Philippines need a Manny Pacquiao in entrepreneurship. We need an inspiration. We know Mark Zuckerberg, we know Bill Gates, but they are in States. We need someone that we can really appreciate, we can connect to, just like Manny Pacquiao. When we saw Manny fighting in the TV, we somehow in our inner selves, we want to become like him in another way. So if that someone, that one inspiration will come up in the future, most probably future students that will create their projects will have the idea that what they are doing in their college school project will most probably can become a company. So if ever, I want to be a Manny Pacquiao here in the Philippines. But if you are the one, if I am not that person, if you are that person, guys, well, I will be happy also. So kung sino man sa inyo yun dyan, labas niyo na yan kung sino yung Manny Pacquiao natin. Thank you.
Yeah, so just the model in the US that could work is that, and I was talking to the chancellor about this morning, is that LaSalle is not really linked to businesses as much as LaSalle should, right? Because ideas are valuable. In fact, ideas generated by students are great because typically hindi naiisip ng big companies in. So in the States, Stanford, MIT, Harvard, they have a very strong relationship to the business. If a drug manufacturer wants to figure out, the next improvements to their drug, they work with the university. If a bank here wants to understand big data, they work with the university. So that linkage will propagate the model. And just to give you an example, my thesis here at LaSalle is actually to develop the most efficient route solution for the Philippine National Oil Company. So we did it, we get the World Gold Medal Award for it, and PNOC actually used it. So the responsibility goes two ways. One is the university needs to put a concerted effort to connect the businesses. But then for the students, if you're gonna do something hard, and if you want to be the best at it, isipin niyo na lang that this should last longer than my thesis. So just be a little bit more creative, a little bit more enthusiastic of what you do. Make sure it lives. If like I said, if you're gonna spend the effort, make sure it's the best it can possibly be. If you take that attitude, you'll eventually be Manny Pacquiao. He trains hard, right? He's focused on making the best at his craft, and he continuously improves himself. So take that attitude as a student, that whatever you do, right, has to be the best you can possibly make it, and start here. The thesis is a good place to start.
Alright, so I'm still undergoing thesis. So who of you are undergoing thesis now? Like, currently? One. Some of you wala pa? So, like for me, because like I'm taking thesis now, it's not just I'm gonna be working it for a year and a half. So, parang why not use the effort you did on that thesis, and then you progress on it. You already did something. I don't wanna just drop my thesis and say, okay, I'm done with school and I graduate and I look for a job. You already put some effort. So for those of you thinking or about to pick one on the topics, pick something that you want to do, not just in your stay in the sub, but something you want to do and afterwards, something interesting. You never know. Like that could be your job actually. You're doing something really fun, something that you love. At the same time, it's something in your field as well.
For me, to answer the question, for me it's like the more of the general thinking of people, because some of the subjects here are more geared towards more research or towards more software programming. So when we look at it, the things we do are just for research purposes or just for software programming purposes for other companies. And what I like about LaSalle now is they give us opportunities to, convert those ideas, convert those research ideas to businesses, like giving us subjects like Innovate, and I think there's going to be a business master's program in computer science, and yeah, and that's it.
Okay, I think what you said when you said we need a Manny Pacquiao, we were looking for a role model that all of the young students can look up to. Isn't Winston your role model, or are we looking for somebody who's younger, more prettier? Give us some ideas on that. Like, who could be a role model, for example?
What I'm trying to say is, Winston and Dado is one of my inspiration here in the Philippines. I knew them because I already on the startup world. Or what I'm trying to say is, I met them because I'm searched for them. But we need someone that will inspire others, even though they are not yet looking in that career path. What I'm trying to say is, maybe we need someone that's not as famous as Mark Zuckerberg, but as inspirational in terms of PR or that's the difference. I knew them because I searched for them. We need someone that is already in the pillar, that when someone look at them watching TV, wow. If you're just in high school, you can say that I want to be someday just like that guy. That's what I'm trying to say. We can put on that.
To me, it's not a person, it should be a system. And that's what I wanted to really bring into LaSalle. It's not, there's a few really good guys here. I don't know if you know a kid named Jolo Balbin, right? You guys know Jolo? Who knows Jolo? Oh, he could be a Manny Pacquiao. He developed his master's thesis, technology for natural language processing, shortening news items into text. It's a LaSalle product, right? So, yeah, and it's a great technology. So, to add to that, so LaSalle should celebrate that, right? So where is LaSalle saying congratulations to our graduate for doing this?
Next term.
Yeah. Ruth, it's on your list, huh? Yeah. Now, where is the relationships here that talks to our alumni and say, hey, you should use his technology at BDO, right, or at RCBC, right? Where's the tech? There needs to be an active advocacy. That's the important part. And the active advocacy starts with the student, because you guys have the most energy, right? But is made possible in a framework by the faculty and the administration. But it's almost time, to your point, to create a system identity for LaSalle, right? Do we want LaSalle to be the best entrepreneurial school in the country, Barnett? Yeah? Nothing else can be better, right? So we should do that.
Well, another thing, whom of you use Scan Ninja? Or you know about it? So you guys know Archie Choa? Yes. Yes, okay. So even something like that, something as simple as that, even though Scan Ninja is a bit catered to DLSU, but that idea alone, he created something, he saw the need, he made it, everyone's using it now, and then, later on, I was actually talking to Archie about this, and he can actually sell the idea, but then I think that he's just really busy, he has to fix the code, but something like that, something, and then something, I hope it's something you know as well, it's going to be just something super simple, and you guys can do that as well. If you find a need, even a small need, just create it.
Questions from the audience? Okay, come in. Please introduce yourself, please. Get to the microphone.
Good morning, sirs. My name is Gabriel Cairo. I'm a senior taking up business management. Basically, in business management, we learn a lot about information technology and business information systems. I'm just curious, how can I enhance my knowledge about those topics, especially how I can implement information technology in my future business endeavors?
Yeah, so first of all, knowing that technology helps, right? I always say geek is a special person. You all have to be geeks for it. Being curious about technology is one. But what you could do in your field, because you're in business management, is to help the geeks also figure out business models. The innovation is not only in code. A lot of the innovation has to do with delivery, the business model, the execution. So we have to combine both. And what you need to constantly seek is how will it change for the better what is current. So examples of that is, what if people give tablets to doctors so they be more efficient in the patient care? That's a business problem solved by technology. So that's really what we're trying to do, is to find ways to combine, business leaning person, right, who's thinking about how I can make this happen all the time. So if there's a Mark Zuckerberg somewhere at the field, you should be, Severin, helping him to do that and combine. I think that's one aspect. But yeah, technology is just a technology until a business person turns it into business. So that's my advice.
I'd encourage as well, you find people from TCS, you find people who you can work with. Most of these things are just partnerships. Find people you can work with. And the same goes for TCS. Find someone who can do the marketing for you, can do the business models for you. Because I know you guys don't want to work on the financials, etc. You just want to work in your code. But I think there's a lot of potential in the university. There just needs to be this place where both sides can meet and create some businesses. Which is good, we have Innovate now, right? Where we have half of the class is CCS, half is COB. Then I was talking with someone from Coffee Bean who wants to turn this Coffee Bean and you wanted to a startup hub. So I was thinking, yeah, let's go for it. I'll help there. And I want, if you guys are interested, that's where you can meet people.
Thank you.
Somebody in the back, please come up. Microphone over here. Do you have a question? Okay. After this.
So one of the biggest challenges.
Introduce yourself, please.
Okay.
Where are you studying?
I'm Paul. I'm from Business Information Systems. PS, PS. This is what happens when So what is the biggest challenges of students, I guess, yung may mga gandang ideas, is where do we go to next? Parang sinasabi nila is, may nagawa na ako, or may gagawin na ako, may magandang idea, and Ang problem is, okay, anong gagawin natin dito? Parang, sino yung lalapit sa atin? O kaya tayo lalapit para i-connect na tayo dito or connect tayo doon? Which is, I'm curious if Animal Labs could do that for us.
So what we're doing with Animal Labs is just to start it. What completes Animal Labs is your input. Actually, I'm going to invite all of you to help design it. So September 20, we're presenting it to the board and to the alumni to fund Animal Labs. But we don't want to reinvent wheels. If you guys, you have a hacker group here that's working on that. Looks like just people that have attended Startup Weekend. You guys kind of know what to do, right? So what we want to do is take every idea of everybody's collective experience and make it LaSalle, right? And do it at Animal Lab. So let me introduce a couple of people that's going to facilitate it. So Mike Lim, LaSalleite, Chief Technology Officer of Exist. So if you guys want to ask really difficult coding things, it's Mike. And Pam Belen from LaSalle also on the business side naman. So they're the prototypes, right? They're coming here every week on Fridays to actually collect input on how we can make Animal Labs as best as it can possibly be at the Henry C building on the 12th floor. So we're serious about making this real. And making it real includes your design. We're gonna seed it with a very nice building, very nice facility, dedicated LaSallian alumni mentors and funders, and we're bringing our ideas to the campus. If you can help and if you're interested in helping, we're setting up a Basecamp account so you guys can join it. We'll publish it later on. But let's make it ours, right? And let's make it indigenous innovation. I don't want to copy an idea somewhere else. We'll learn from the ideas all over the place, but make it LaSalle. So that's the thought. Now, the goal for Animal Labs is, number one, the simplest thing. It's just a venue to collaborate and talk. It's a big space. I don't know if you've seen the 12th floor at the building. We get close to half of that, facing Manila Bay. It's a big place. It's got great support. We're actually building the first ever university cloud computing, a very highly replicated data storage environment in that space. So that's the starting point. You're going to have guys like Nestor Tan, alumni that have the wherewithal and the interest to help fund hanging out at Animal Labs. Beyond that, the design's kind of open architecture, but so you guys can all help and design it for us. And yeah, every Friday, I think Mike's planning every Friday morning to be here. Maybe what we'll do is do a community brainstorm, so some of you can attend. Any more questions?
Ida?
Ma'am Ida, I used to study. Ingatan niyo yan, terror yun.
I'm Dr. Velasco, Ida Velasco from the College of Business, and I belong to the Decision Science and Innovation Department. So first, I would like to respond with regards to the idea that was floated around where we really have to publicize what we are doing, and we really have to bring out to the public the entrepreneurs that we have developed, no? So that they will be role models. And in line with this, I think very few in the university knew that at this point, we are the lead institution. De La Salle University was awarded a contract to do or be a member of the Global Entrepreneurship Monitor study. This is the biggest study worldwide that is being done on entrepreneurship in each country. So it is participated right now more than 100 countries all over the world. And we get a 6 million peso funding just to do research on entrepreneurship, the dynamics of entrepreneurship in the Philippines for the next 3 years. And for this year, the focus is on youth entrepreneurship and women entrepreneurship. No? So LaSalle is already in the forefront of entrepreneurship study, which is not being done by any university in the Philippines. So we hope that we can showcase more entrepreneurs coming from the LaSalle University. Okay, my question is, sorry, no? Tatanungin ko ulit si Winston. Sawang-sawa niya sa tanong ko in the past. I was really caught, my interest was really caught by Winston when he said that, I don't know if you were able to get this phrase that he said during his presentation, that before you can be a startup, you have to be a business. And I would like, and that is a very profound statement that has a lot of wisdom in it. And I think it will, I would like Winston to expound on it more, because this is one thing that most students forget. You have the idea, but you forgot the business model. So in the process, the idea just becomes an idea. And sad to say, it just sat in the library. That you have to get permit to tap into that idea before any student can read your thesis. Sometimes it's very difficult to just pull out the thesis from the library. No? So maybe we can request Winston to expound more on that, because this is something that he has done, something that made him very successful. That sometimes those short phrases, we tend to ignore it. But these are the catchphrases, no, that students like you should be able to remember when you get out of this room. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. So, I remember it because it, was painful experience not to follow that model, right? There's actually, if you guys want to even expound on this, there's a book by Collins called Good to Great, and it talks about the 3 concentric circles that creates a successful company. Number 1 is, what is your passion? Number 2, the second of that concentric circle is, what drives your economic model? And the third is, what momentum will carry it forward to sustainability. So if you read that book, and you should probably make it mandatory for your class, it speaks about, because an idea you can get excited in. You call that a hobby if it's not a business. But if that hobby, tends to get people to pay you money for it, then that hobby you can fund some more and build more stuff, right? And if you can envision that hobby to go beyond the place you're working, then it becomes a business. I think the other thing to add to that is, ideas can stay as an idea. You can, be excited about writing that code and then happy and have the satisfaction that you completed the code. But just say it's a code. At some point, it's a feature of a product. At some point. The only thing that I would caution is, before you launch into an endeavor like fundraising, which Mona mentioned, right? Before you use your friends and families and pools money, you should make it a point that you yourself believe it's a business. Because the one thing that entrepreneurs do is, we're optimistic by default, right? We think everything can be done. We have a responsibility when we start taking other people's money, right? And take that really seriously, because an entrepreneur always needs backing. And the last thing you want to be cautious about is to not disrupt that trust, right, from investors. Lalo na dito sa Pilipinas, very few investors, right? And we don't want to break that trust. So extra emphasis on, before you call it a business, make sure you yourself believe it's a business. For young people, mentorship helps. And I think you guys already have in your mind how we're going to turn this into a business. So more dialogue, more conversations, more teachings from the professors here to do that. I also encourage actually faculties to start building your own startups as well. Start to teach entrepreneurship when you're not. That's one thing that the US universities try to do as well. They actually get their faculties to be board advisors, stuff like that.
Can I add one thing more? Okay, yes, business model and how your idea will be profitable is very important. But please don't let that what you don't know stops you. If what you have, prototype or small projects, just put it out there. No, let it go. Don't be afraid if it fails. There's no perfect first step. We all start in a simple thing. And kung hindi man natin paalam, so wag natin hayaang hindi natin subukan yung unang hakbang. So my my advice is just do it, and along the way we will learn. Now what we need to learn, just let go of the fear, whatever it is, just do it. Put it out there. There's so many things out here in the Philippines right now na wala pa noong 2009 or 2006. There's a lot of competition, hackathon, big support from IBM, Microsoft, so many things. Just be involved on that, and along the way, we will learn what we need to learn.
You know, one of the questions that I often hear from students, especially those that have finished, is that this dilemma that they face. Should I get a job and work on my idea at night and on weekends, and maybe then maybe I'll shift to that, or do you recommend really focus on that idea and work on it? Don't work first. That's a question we hear often from students, and your comments on that, please.
So this is actually a question I asked, and I was under idea space, and I was talking to Earl Valencia, if you haven't met him. So I was asking him, should I actually, right after graduation, should I work on this idea, or should I go for experience first? Should I go for corporate? And the thing he said was, it was just really practical, I guess. So if your idea is good for the next 2 to 3 years only, if that's how long it's gonna take, or if that's how long it's gonna run, work on it already. But if you think your startup or your idea is going to be for a 5, 10-year thing, go work first in corporate, and then when you figure out that you got experience, a bit more experience, you have a bit more structure and personally and career, and then you can work on your idea. So I think that was the answer I got from
So the step I did take is it really has to do with when you feel like you want to acquire a certain knowledge and what your expertise that you want to build for yourself. I started a business after I graduated at Salle. I actually put together a plan that correlates the diagnostics and the procedures of medical processes so you can build automatically over the internet. And that idea, which did turn into a business, failed. And I decided that if I wanted to be the best at my craft, which is to develop IT enterprise technology, that I should work at Intel. And I tried about 20 times to get into only Intel architecture labs, right? And while I ended up working for a big company, I thought that whole process of getting to Intel was entrepreneurial. And I did learn 5 years, and then you can argue one or the other. If I had built my startup, would I have gotten to Blue Code sooner? Or if I had acquiring the skills at Intel got me to build Blue Code more successful? And I still think about that every now and then. But I think the key difference there was that an entrepreneur is an entrepreneur. Like what you said, whatever I don't have, I will find, right? And if I'm really passionate about my intent, right? Even if I, sometimes you deal with things that says, I don't know what I don't know. But if your passion is there and acquiring what you need can be done as a startup, right? Just go for it. A lot of people did that, Zuckerberg, those guys. Or you go back to the best of breed of the space you want to be in. If you want to build the next Microsoft, go work at Microsoft and then beat them afterwards, right? You can do that too, right? So there's no set formula. I think it's more important to seek your inner passion. What are you willing to do for yourself?
To add one, there's no correct formula. I believe we all have different aspect in facing risk, and that could be the answer if you want to take a job while doing your startup or just focusing on your startup. If you are the person who wants to face risk in spite of everything, if that challenge you, if that risk can take you to the next level, well, don't take a job, just do your startup. But if you're a startup that can do more better, if you're on the risk of, if you are in the state of risk, well, I guess you should maintain that moment of that state. So it depends on different kind of ano natin, temperament or yeah, just
I have a question. How do you deal with naysayers? I know that in my life, I've heard it even from my family na, anak, huwag na lang, mag-lawyer ka na lang, huwag ka maging teacher, or, do something else, just not that. How do you personally deal with naysayers, and how do you cultivate a good support system for your small but bright ideas?
I just want to share our experience in Startup Weekend. We came into Startup Weekend having an idea of List, which was a place where people can record their greetings for one person online. And then during the weekend, well, mentors came in, some said, oh, this idea is great, you should make this a mobile app. And then another mentor came in, oh, this is great, you should make it a website, don't make it a mobile app at all. So we were like, what? And then there were seminars about how to make a business model, and then we thought about, we don't have a business model yet, so we thought about making paid greetings or having artwork at the back and then paying for the theme, whatever. And then we pivoted to a lot of many ways in the while we were in the weekend. And at the end, what happened was we just scratched everything and then we stuck to the core idea. So what for me, just have a core and just stick to it. If you think that's good, just like what you said, just do it. And yeah, if people say that it's bad or it's not going to work, I mean, I think for me it's going to work. So I'm going to stick it and I'm going to fight for it.
I think you have to understand the context of who's saying no, right? Because no is really an unconverted yes at the moment. But people say no, and if they're just saying no uninformed, you can disregard that. But some people say no for the right reasons as well. So either you try to convince that person, or you take that input. But you have to qualify who's saying no. I think it would be the addition to that statement.
Wow, good. I'll start with you first, and then next the other guy with the glasses in the back. Please. Just get on deck so you can cover it.
So I went to university fourth year taking on CSE. So my question is, what are the biggest challenges when starting a startup? Like, actually, it's a fear about. I mean, what are the possible things that may happen that you could advise people, since we really don't know what to expect?
Startup is taking risk. So the biggest fear, at least for me, was this is goes to the advices. If you're young, start early, because at some point in your life, like when I was at Intel, I'm already close to a vice president, right? And it gets to a point where you're afraid to fail. So you become your own worst enemy because you've gotten to that point already. You become risk averse. My advice is to start early and to start often. That's what he said, because that will remove the fear. It's like working out. When you're working out, lifting weights become easier. And this is really why there's a thrust by IBM as an example. There's a lot of encouragement in Salle to do in-campus incubation. That's what we're trying to do at Anyone Else. Start getting to start early and start often. I think the best advice is don't be afraid to fail, but also define failure and define the next iteration. Pero start early, start often. You guys are doing your great examples here at Salle. that have done that. There's Jolo. Who knows Unix? Santana. You guys know Unix? So we funded Orchestra. I funded Orchestra, right? We're actually on a board meeting on Friday. You guys know Raymond? Del Rosario? Like, these are the Lasalites that actually, I don't know if you know their story, but in the spirit of sharing Lasallian stories, you know, Unix worked for Microsoft. Unix worked at Microsoft for a while, acquired the skills of productization, which Microsoft's good at. But you know what she did was she left a very lucrative job. They're living out of their own savings, and they believe in what they had. There were a lot of naysayers, and most recently they got a grant from DOST for $43,000, and they got funded by a few of the angel network participants here in the Philippines. So they started early, they started off and they stuck with it. And pretty soon they probably have the only big data analytics for media and broadcast here in the Philippines. So I guess a lot of these examples, you need to publish this at Lasal. Who's in journalism here? But you have a lot of success. You have a lot of mini Manny Pacquiao's running around.
Yeah, entrepreneurship is a fast-paced lifestyle. For me, the most challenges that I face is the what you call this one? The changing of mindset from a technical person into a business person, because we are all trained to be more technical when we're still working on our idea, but along the way, in a very fast pace, we need to acquire the knowledge, the mindset of managing people, managing your finances, and so many other stuff. And that state is one of the very challenging state that I encounter in building my company and my startup. So for me, if you face that state, just dig your heels down and understand that it's all part of the process. That's
Good advice means don't think about getting started soon. Rather just start early. We have another question here.
Hi, I'm James. I'm from the College of Business. So I have a month-old startup, and it's right in the middle of a social network and a professional network. Just have a question. With all the recent happenings in the startup world, like there's this blog that's called my startup has 30 days to live, and like with all the different approaches of the local incubators and accelerators like Launch Garage and stuff, how do I know if it's better to join an accelerator or continue bootstrapping my startup since it's just a month old and we're building the prototype next?
Do you want an honest answer or no? The one thing I wanted to share is that life becomes easier if you belong to a community, right? And there's a lot of you that are entrepreneurs. And if you take charge amongst yourself and form an entrepreneurship community of LaSalle, help each other out, that's probably more help than you're gonna get from incubators, accelerators, that kind of stuff, right? Because peer level mentorship is more, sometimes kasi when you're CEO, it's really hard to tell your team I'm having a problem. You're supposed to be the source of strength, right? And you need to talk to other CEOs that have the same problem as you, right? That is only concerned about helping a friend with no agenda because I'm not getting more equity if I help you out, or right, I can put my logo under your company, or right. So all the accelerators, bootstrap agents, and all that stuff help in general, but there's no replacement to a very solid entrepreneur network. And if you go back to when this all started in Silicon Valley, before everybody pretended what it means, it really just meant a few geeks from the homebrew computer club trying to do something nobody's ever done before, and they're all scared, and they hung out, amongst themselves and created something different. A third party is not prescribing your success. It's not Globe's formula, it's not PLDT's formula, right? It's your formula that will carry you through. Along the way, you'll get friends. IBM will be your friend, Microsoft will be your friend, venture capitalists will be your friend sometimes, and your foes sometimes. But if you guys really want to help yourselves, build your own community. That is the best thing I can share with everyone. It works, and it's empowering. Right? You gain confidence that way. Kaya kayo na help out, invite mentors, but you know, take charge of that.
How much time do we have? Okay, we've got about 10 more minutes, and we'd like to get. But that's a very concrete answer to the question of Bona. How to establish that support system? But somebody's gonna carry that ball here, and run with it here at Salle. The support system, group of entrepreneurs, etc. So we'll work on that for that answer. We haven't heard from anyone up here. If I'm not mistaken, these are the coders. The guys who raised their hands when Winston asked about Java and Ruby. And who was it that said, if you're going to study anything, study coding above all? Was that Mark Zuckerberg or Bill Gates or? So, I got a question. Let's come up.
So, hi, I'm John from ES Information Systems. As an entrepreneur, we tend to think of the long term. So, yes, we may have a good idea, we may have a successful startup, but how do we maintain the sustainability of the idea? Knowing that technology changes and as well as more great ideas are out there.
So your question is how to maintain the profitability of the idea?
How do you maintain the success of the long-term success of the idea, knowing that you have unstable technological arena, as well as more students who will create the idea or better idea.
So I wanted to share an experience in that. Actually, two companies, one Intel and the other Google. They have a one-page business plan. Intel's business plan basically said to build the best possible semiconductor product in the world. Basically it. And from that one fundamental idea, they evolved from DRAM to microprocessors to memory chips to SSD cards to other things. Google did the same thing. They had a one fundamental tenet in their business plan to organize the world's data, right? But then Google today is no longer just providing you search. They're also providing office productivity tools. They're providing cloud computing. Pretty soon they're providing driver-free cars. Pretty soon they're providing an Android phone, right? We already do that. Pretty soon they're going to give you next generation eyeglasses, right? So I think that it's the nature of a technology startup to think like a shark. You stop swimming, you dive. And that's the beauty and the excitement of a technology startup, is it always evolves. So if you don't like doing that, then go to retail. But if you're a technology startup, it's gonna evolve anyway, and your nature needs to be adaptive to that you want to evolve all the time. That's how successful companies survives and evolve. They stop evolving, they become Xerox, right? They become Polaroid, they become to a degree Sony, right? Or MySpace, or so. I think it's. That's the good news is the nature of a tech startup is it's dynamic and it always will be.
Okay, I think we've got about 5 minutes, so we'll take that one last burning question. I know some of you are sitting on your questions, and come over. Okay, you were raising your hands? No. Did you want to ask? Go ahead. Maybe ask it through there.
I'm Charmaine from computer science, software technology. I just want to ask, sir, why do you have so many startups? Why not just have one company and all the products under your thanks.
Because I have ADD. No, I'll give you a reason why, and actually I'll use a real company example. No? Mike and I founded a company called Exist Global, and I'm a technologist, so I ended up doing Java, Ruby, PHP, Python, mobile, .NET at one point, because we thought, why not just keep growing the company? What you eventually realize at some point is that a technology startup is passion-based, and you need to have culture. When you have so many ideas, you need to be disciplined to narrow it down to what can you be the best at, right? And because I have a lot of opportunities to build it, in order for the startups to become the best at their field, they need to have their own culture. So people that build websites have a different culture than people that write enterprise apps. So you can't combine the two of them together. So that's the reason I have multiple startups. The other reason is that I honestly, personally want to meet more entrepreneurs. And by building multiple startups, I parallelize that development. Right? I'm building 2 CTOs at the same time, 3 CEOs at the same time, 4 CFOs at the same time, 2 VP of engineering at the same time. So me, it's personally rewarding to see it, have multiple parallel startups. But the more important fact that goes back to it, startup founders want ownership. Right? These guys are excited because they own it. They can affect their startup. Okay. When it becomes a really big company, that voice starts to get to lose. Right? So I think that's what drives me. There are other companies that operate differently, like Computer Associates, for instance. Okay, they accumulate, aggregate, and then kill. There's different kind of mindsets. But for startups, ownership is key. You're more passionate when you own it, right? It drives your energy that way, and that's important in the very beginning.
Good morning, I'm Kendrick from BS Information Systems. I would just like to ask, is there any other way to find sponsors or partnerships other than startup to fund or support our ideas?
Fund your ideas. Yeah, we haven't talked about it now. Ideas are not limited. When you build ideas, especially if ideas to help other people, it's not limited to forming startups and doing that. I don't know if you heard the term social entrepreneurs. In fact, that's the other thing I wanted all of you guys to think about at the very beginning. You can't fail if you're a social entrepreneur. The fact that you decided to be one, you're already successful, right? Because you're helping someone, right? Your metric is not profits or business. So that's one way to do it. There's also, again, putting the burden back on the university, there's also funding to create technology that helps, right? And that should actually be encouraged in the university. You know, your ideas may not be a business, but it might be a better way to package medicine, might be a better way to produce energy, might be a better way to provide, improvements. In general, I don't know if it's in Salle yet, but within the university system, you can actually apply for PhD programs to create that idea, and then they fund it. So these are alternative way to get funding for technology ideas.
We just have one last question, because after this we're going to close the program. So please come up here so you can be seen.
Hello. Hi. My name is Darren Sapalo.
I'm currently third year taking a CSSE, software technology. I have two short questions. One is, there may be other students like me who would be interested in supporting animal labs. So I'd like to ask to who would we go to if you want to support the project? And the second question would be, what could be your parting tip for us students currently taking up our undergrad? What would be your tip for us to basically to give us an edge in starting out as an entrepreneur and finding ideas and developing it?
So first on Animal Labs, again, Fridays in the morning, go to the 12th floor. We'll set up an Animal Labs idea office at the 12th floor. If the office is not closed, we'll make sure to leave a bulletin board or something. And then later on we'll have base camp where everybody can join and electronically participate. So Mike and Pam will work on that. We'll send you emails later on to say where that is. So help. And then the second answer to your question was don't wait. If it's not your idea, join somebody else's group. Learn to become a startup. You have to, it's okay to learn to be part startup as well. And there's a participant of a group. I'm sure a lot of the startup founders here would love free help. Volunteer, be an intern to your fellow startups. That way you can generate your own ideas over time. But I think the main message is don't wait, get started. A startup doesn't start with an idea, it starts with your intention to be in that space.
For me, my final tip is we all train not to fail our exams or our subjects. We all train on that. We have a culture of eliminating mistakes. But entrepreneurship is it is very important to know that failure, mistake, knowing that it is part of the process will make a big difference on how we do our thing, do what we want. Recognizing that it is more likely possible that we fail is recognizing that will make a big difference so that we can start ASAP. So we can test our idea, learn more, meet more. So that's my final tip. Recognize that fear is part of it, and don't be afraid of it.
Good final word. Let's give our panelists a big hand, please. Thank you very much.
So thank you for Thank you, Sir Winston Amarillo, for the great talk, and to our panelists. I don't know, let's ask Emmy. It's a Microsoft tablet. Yeah, it's a Microsoft tablet, probably. And thank you, Sir Vicky, for moderating. Miss Mona, please. Miss Ethel. Sir Alexis Pantola, please. There's Sir Mike. There's the organizers. Thank you.